Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning. How are we doing?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
I'm applauding my man Shannon Sharpe. He finally got one right.
Yeah, what I get right? Which one? Which game I get right?
My Bucs, who are actually your Bucs, because they're also your Super Bowl pick, lost, just as you predicted.
No, but I also predicted they were not going 20-0. I predicted that. And I told you
that was going way out on the limb for you, right?
But who did I pick to be the first team to get them? Over there in SoFi. And the stars came out, Skip. You saw the stars.
They did come out.
LeBron was there.
Oh, go.
LeBron was there.
Dr. Dre.
Phony goat was there.
You hate
Not
him.
miss that kind of action. Oh, and by the way, guys, that crazy ending between Green Bay and San Francisco last night. We're also going to preview the Cowboys game, but since all the stars came to L.A. to watch that one, let's start with that game right here. Tom Brady and the Bucs flew to Hollywood to take on the Rams in a battle of two NFC heavyweights. Brady couldn't get into a rhythm until the game was out of reach, while Matthew Stafford was the star of the show as he threw 4 touchdowns in L.A.'s 34-24 win. So, Shannon, I know you're happy about that one. What was the biggest reason the Rams won?
Stafford being sensational. Skip, it's been a very few times that a team has beaten Tom Brady in which the quarterback has not outplayed Tom Brady. And if you want to stand toe-to-toe with a gunslinger, you got to look him in his eye and perform just as well as he did. Wow. And he did that. The Rams ran 40 plays, and in those 40 plays, they had 4 touchdowns. They started out shaky. He had D-Jack early, Skip, and he underestimated D-Jack's speed. That's not Slayton. That's not Galladay. That's not Marvin Jackson Sr. And even at his age of 34, D-Jack is still the best deep threat in football. He still can run, Skip, even at his age. And I told you, I said, Skip, they haven't been using D-Jack. I'm looking, they're going to get a shot or two there. And if you have DeSean Jackson on your team, if you're not going to give him at least 2 deep balls a game, I don't really know why you have him on your team. So they gave him that opportunity. Started out, he was a little shaky. He missed him. Had Cooper Kupp on a corner route. He missed him, threw it behind him. Kupp normally catch those, but Stafford could have gave him a better ball. But once they got in sync and once they got rolling, it was boom, 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 boom. 6 straight possessions, 6 straight scores. 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals, really put the ball game out of reach. Now, I don't really know anything about it. I know you read about the TB12 method, but I'm thinking, and from the nutritional standpoint, they want you to eat wholesome foods. They don't want you to get empty calories. They want you to eat avocado, good solid fat, salmon, good solid fat, nice carbohydrates, a nice complex carbohydrate, nice solid proteins. What are all these empty calories? He had to eat Twinkies on a Sunday. Because here's what happened, Jen. I don't know if you noticed this. Empty calories.
Why don't you just tell me? You don't have to tell her.
No, I'm going to tell the audience. Let me tell the audience. I want to tell you here. You can hear me.
I'm right here. I'm listening.
People at home. Tom Brady, he had 260 yards passing when they were down by at least 14 points. He had 177 yards when trailing by at least 17 points. Now, I know a situation where if it had been LeBron James, why is he in the ball game? Because he's chasing Kareem.
Wait a second. Why are we even discussing the phony goat when we're talking about the goat?
Because this is what you do all the time when you're trying to make your point. I'm trying to make my point. Why the hell was Tom Brady in the game down 17 with 3 minutes? Because he's trying to get the MVP. The same reason they only had 13 carries in the ball game when you got Rojo, you got Leonard Fournette. You talk about playoff Lenny, Rojo. You're trying to get your guy the MVP. And he played right into the hands because Matthew Stafford outplayed him yesterday. There's no way around it.
Who was the leading rusher for the Buccaneers?
Who
was he?
Hello, Skip.
It was Tom Brady.
Whoa.
Maybe that's the MVP.
Whoa.
He can run it as well as he can throw it.
He did not outplay Matthew Stafford yesterday. He has not been better than Matthew Stafford. You looked at all those junk yards that he got against Atlanta. They finally won a game. Oh, he beat Dallas. And everybody else the MVP. He's FedEx Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
And look what happened to him. He went and faced the real team, and he looked bad.
And he threw for 432?
432?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. How many of those yards he threw when they were ahead? How many yards did he throw when they were down by at least, let's just say 3 points?
There are empty calories and there are what are called rally calories, because there is no quarterback in the history of this game who can bring back a team any faster than that guy can. No, he was trying his tail off. 432. How many interceptions did he throw?
None.
Oh, none. Wow.
How many touchdowns did he throw?
1.
Oh, 1 got through 4.
How many did he score on the ground? 1 more. Greatest quarterback sneaker in the history of football by far is that guy.
So one guy throws for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he never trailed in the game. One guy throws for 1,000 yards, and he was never within a score. They tied it up at 7-7.
Tell me when it's my turn.
And then Matt Stafford took off on him. Matthew Stafford was the difference in this ball game.
Oh, was he really?
Yes, he was.
I saw a really different game, and now it is my turn to tell you exactly what I saw in this game, which I don't know. I'm not in the Hall of Fame. What do I know? But this is what I saw.
Okay.
To start off with, I did predict that the Buccaneers would go 20-0. And I told you I was teetering out on the very end of the limb, but I also told you they're going to be favored to win every game, all 17 in the regular season. Am I right about that?
You predicted that.
And I still believe they will be favored because they were favored to win this game yesterday. But what did I also tell you when I made that prediction? That the injury gods will ultimately decide whether they go 20-0 or not. And what happened? The injury gods this past week said, no, sorry. What did Tom Brady go to all the way to Los Angeles without? His most valuable, his most important defensive player. Who is it by far on that defense? It is Jason Pierre-Paul. And he's got a shoulder and he's got some kind of arm injury and he could not go yesterday. And what happened? Sensational Matt Stafford. He mostly had time to drive to Detroit and back before he had to throw the football. It was like the bad old days of midseason last year where the Buccaneers could get no pressure on the quarterback. Am I right? They got 1 late sack by the backup defensive tackle Golston. That's all they got the whole day, and they pressured him 3 times. He's just standing back there saying, well, I could throw it to Deshaun, or I could go here and I could go there. What else happened to Tom Brady yesterday? He has 1 favorite target on this team, and that is his only deep threat that he has. He has 1 guy who is the equivalent of Deshaun Jackson. What is his name? It happens to be Antonio Brown. And what happened to Antonio? COVID protocol, could not go yesterday. And obviously their toughest test of the season, as we both said before the year. This would be it. Am I right about that? Okay, so then what happens right away? The Buccaneers are thin at cornerback already. They're down Sean Murphy-Bunting, and what happened right away? Jamel Dean got hurt, but before he got hurt, what did he do? They had Matthew Stafford, sensational Matthew Stafford, on his heels right away, just as I predicted they would, because he's not that guy.
I couldn't tell.
He's not made for this kind of stage unless you don't rush him and don't pressure him and let him finally ease in and get hot. What happened right away? What did he do in his first 6 passes? How about 1 for 6, Mr. Sensational? How about that? 1 for 6. And would you believe for the game, he had 3 passes that got tipped at the line of scrimmage that also got caught? They got caught. It's like, thank you, gods. The injury god said, we're going to make it impossible for Tampa to win, and we're going to make it very possible for Matthew Stafford to finally have 1 game in the sunshine in Los Angeles. 3 tip balls that all get, are you kidding me? So, and to your point, he throws the first 2 balls to Deshaun that they must have been 20 yards underthrown. Are you kidding me? Sensational. They have him right where they want him. And now could we see what my man Jamel Dean did early in the game? Could we see this play? Throw to, I believe it was to Cooper Kupp, wild high. Here we go. This is early. It's still 0-0. That's wild high. And jump up. I'm still rolling on the floor from that one. How can you not catch that? That might be the easiest dropped interception this year in the National Football League. It's 0-0, and I think he might run for a while with that ball. That's what I think.
He ain't running nowhere.
Yeah, he's running for a while, and my team is going to go ahead, and all of a sudden the pressure's going to start getting to Matthew Stafford. You've got to catch this. It's the ball game. It's still 0-0, and it's going to tilt the playing field the other direction. Now, could we see what happened a little bit later? That was at, what was that, 5 8:53 of the first. This is 5:41. About 3 minutes later, could we see what happened? This is Brady to Gronkowski, and this ball must be caught. Is he the GOAT tight end or is he not the GOAT tight end? You have to catch that. It's still 0-0. You're going to have it down, what, at their 20? Yeah, you're going to have it at the 15. You're going to go score first. You're going to put the pressure on Matthew Stafford. And then what happens? That was 3rd and 5. They had to punt. And here came Matthew Stafford. Finally, he could heave a sigh. Whew, we dodged 2 bullets. Maybe I should settle in. They're not rushing me at all. I got nothing but time. And here they went, 95 yards in 14 plays to go up 7-0. And all of a sudden, field gets tilted. Bucs are on their heels. Am I right?
But Skip, you make it seem like when they scored 7-0 that Tom Brady was no longer going to get the football.
Okay, but right away, it was clear. They couldn't run the ball at all. Tom Brady, again, was their leading rusher with 14 yards rushing.
He the GOAT.
Yep. Well, I know. That was pretty goatish, I thought.
I couldn't tell.
Oh, really? Huh? So what happens? They're playing uphill the rest of the game, and here's the worst part of it. Mr. Sensational Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Guess who my cornerback is in place of Jamel Dean? This is how thin they are. It's a young man by the name of D. Delaney, who played at the Citadel, went undrafted, is now on his 5th NFL team, sat out all last year because nobody wanted him. He's played in 3 career games, and he winds up in the first quarter of the Bucs' biggest game of the whole year, playing one-on-one with Cooper Kupp. Guess what Cooper Kupp is doing so far this year? Oh, he leads the NFL in yards and catches and touchdown catches. That's pretty good, right? Yeah. Cooper Kupp versus D. Delaney? It has come to this. It's like Alabama versus Mercer. What are we talking about? Sensational. How could you not be sensational if you're getting no pressure and D. Delaney is guarding Cooper Kupp? Help me out.
Okay, well, here, let me explain. This is what I'm having a hard time. Why does the injury gods, it's okay for the injury gods to affect someone else, but not Tom Brady? You didn't mention anything about no injury gods come Super Bowl time when they would have an entire offensive line and the Tampa Bay defensive line was feasting.
I didn't need to because you did.
Oh, but I'm saying, no, you talked about how great they were. You didn't mention anything about injury gods. 2, you keep talking about he had his favorite guy. Do you realize Antonio Brown is 5th in targets in 2 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, what did I tell you about last game at Atlanta? Against Atlanta? What did I tell you? He said, I'm saving you for our biggest game of the year.
Don't nobody save nobody. Don't nobody save nobody.
For 17 yards against Atlanta.
Don't nobody save. Stop.
That's the way the genius mind of Tom Brady works.
Genius mind. And then you talk about so what you talk about? Oh, there was no pressure on Matthew Stafford. What happens if you don't pressure Tom Brady? You make it seem like Tom Brady, no matter what you do to him, you can't get him off a key. It's been proven. All the great quarterbacks, if you pressure them, hit them in their mouth, they'll falter. Tom Brady is no different than Matthew Stafford. But what you're trying to...
They're no different? I think I'll take Tom Brady.
What you're trying to do is to say that even if you pressure Tom Brady and put him on his butt, it has no impact on him. And we've seen in big moments, Super Bowls, what the Giants were able to do. The Broncos twice in AFC Championship games, what they were able to do.
He is definitely human.
Okay,
He's also the GOAT of GOATs.
Skip.
Never seen anything like him
Was
before.
he the GOAT yesterday?
432 looked goatish to me.
He lost.
Okay, he did lose because he didn't have his best defensive player and his favorite target.
Hold on, Skip. So he's the only guy that's gone into the game this year without his best offensive weapon and his best defensive weapon. He's the only guy, yes or no?
Who is the Rams' most dangerous weapon? I want to know.
Skip, I just asked you, Skip. Okay, I'm going to answer that, but just answer this. And through 3 weeks, is Tom Brady the only guy that's gone into a game without his best offensive weapon and his best defensive player?
I don't know. I have to go through 32 teams. There may not be anybody who did that.
Really?
There just may not be. Really? I don't know. We'd have to take it team by team. Most valuable defensive player. It's not close. It's JPP. What happened to Shaq Barrett yesterday? He was lost because he didn't have his
I thought Devin White was their best defensive player.
Well, help me out. Why didn't they blitz at all?
They did. Sonny Michel met him in the A-gap.
He hit the quarterback one time the whole game, and they didn't blitz much at all. They might have blitzed 5%.
Wow, Skip.
Todd Bowles, you got to go after Matt Stafford.
Skip. You just said, okay, you got a guy that's an undrafted free agent from the Citadel. You down to your third and fourth corners. Why would you blitz and put them on an island if you don't have guys to stand up on the back end?
It's all about pressure. You have to get pressure. You know it.
Well, who's going to hold up on the back end?
Well, who is going to hold up if you let him stand back there and pat the football? Who's going to hold up?
So you want a slow death or a quick death?
Okay, well, I'll take a quick death. After a while, I'm going to say I'm going after him because it's not working the other way. Was it?
No.
Was it working? No.
But Skip, if you think about Skip, look at them this year. Have they really been able to generate pressure? It's amazing how they look.
JPP?
Yeah, it's amazing how they look when Bakhtiari was out and they had to shuffle the line. It's amazing how they look against Kansas City when Kansas City was down 3 offensive linemen and they got 3 backups in and had to shuffle their offensive line. But when the Rams got a solid offensive line, how did they look? How did they look against the Cowboys? How did they look? I keep telling you, that back end.
So are you now saying the Rams are the Super Bowl favorite?
No,
I want to know.
Skip. We get a chance. We're going to talk about that a little later. I told you. I said, Skip, their back end can be had. I said, the thing is that it's being masked because the team's offensive line is being injured and they're getting so much pressure. But if you can just give somebody just a tick, that back end can be had.
Okay, if you take away 2 of their starters, it can really be had.
They're even those starters, Skip, you make it seem like those starters are Jalen Ramsey, like they're Jair Alexander, like they're one of these top flight guys, Marcus Lattimore. They're not. They're guys.
All those guys won the Super Bowl last year. Same guys. Same guys.
Hold on. And the injury God said, okay, I'm going to impact you, Kansas City. I'm going to have you down your 3 top offensive linemen, and you're going to have to shuffle your offensive line. That's what you just said. The injury God spoke.
I'm not sure the Kansas City offensive line is any better right now than it was for the Super Bowl. Not sure about that.
The offensive line is good. They play well. I mean, what you call it is a beast. Now, Joey Bosa, we're going to get to him. But, Skip, you're out your mind if you think Tom Brady outplayed Matthew Stafford yesterday.
Well, the point is, he had his degree of difficulty was like at a 9 against, what do you tell me about Aaron Donald, the greatest defensive player in the history of football?
He's on pace. He's on pace.
Tom Brady's up against that. What's Matthew Stafford up against? Nothing. His degree of difficulty is a 1.
Nothing.
It's
now
1 versus 9. It's 1 to 9.
But
Seriously, and you agree with that?
No. What I don't agree with is that every time Tom Brady loses, it's somebody else's fault. Every time he wins, he's the GOAT. If he's the GOAT, guess what? When Matthew Stafford scores, Tom Brady gets the ball. He's welcome to score. Tom Brady didn't score. He punted. Matthew Stafford scored. They punt the ball back to the GOAT. What happened?
Is 432 good for a quarterback? Is that
not when you're down 17.
Oh, really?
You're down 17. Skip. He threw for 177 of those. He was down 17 points, threw for 177 yards.
All the way down to the 5-minute mark, I'm thinking just 1 turnover, you'll be right back.
Now you praying. One turnover.
How many turnovers did they create? How about 0? Zero.
Hold on. How many did the Rams create?
None.
Okay,
so that was because the GOAT was playing.
Okay, guess what? Hold on. Well, so what would that make Matthew Stafford? Okay. If I beat the GOAT, what'd that make me?
Right, now I got to get to my favorite theme of this game. The new high school Harry coach to me is Sean McVay. What got into him yesterday?
I love it.
Because guess what? I think the Rams won the Super Bowl. Yes. In fact, they won the Super Bowl by halftime yesterday.
What did he do?
Could we see him?
What did he do?
Coming off the field, this is, first of all, he's laughing. This is after the first touchdown pass.
I told you.
This is 14-7 is when it was. He's over there laughing with Matthew Stafford and believing.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on, give me some. Give me some. That's what I'm talking about. Give me that. Give me that. You some. Whoa! Take off. Give me some.
Fake rah-rah. Give me some more of it. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Take off.
Have you ever seen him do that before?
Yes, I see him do it all the time. Where's D. Jackson? He did. Where's the one with him with D. Jack?
Yeah.
You got that one?
You know what he's thinking?
That's what I got.
Yeah. Keep going, please. You can join your coach. You can join your coach. Just please join your coach. High school Harry McVay. I love this. And trust me, the Buccaneers took note. It was amateurish. It was high schoolish. And he is showing off hot dogging for the crowd that it does include Magic and LeBron and Dr. Dre.
Ooh, Dr. Dre in the house.
I know. We got them all. And it's Sean McVay acting completely out of character.
Why are you worried about what we do on our sideline?
He will pay for that.
Why are you worried about what we do on our sideline?
Here's what the golden rule is in professional football. He who laughs last laughs best.
Golden rule is when I play you, I put foots in you. And then I get to do whatever I want to do.
I want you to remember I said this. I want this on tape for posterity. What happens to the Buccaneers every year with Tom Brady, or the Patriots with Tom Brady? What happened?
What happened?
They had a miserable run in the middle of the year. Do you remember they got blown out at home by New Orleans? They lost to the Rams at home. Do you remember that? And then they lost to Kansas City at home. And then 10 straight games happened, right? Okay. So he who laughs last will be this year Tom Brady, because trust me on this. Remember, I said this. The NFC Championship game will wind up in Tampa Bay because their division will prove to be easier than the Rams division.
Yeah.
And I am hoping and I am praying that the Rams make it to Tampa Bay, because they will get theirs then, because trust me, this will be all over the bulletin board in the Buccaneers locker room, and you will not get out alive. And I am shocked that a Sean McVay, who actually coached in a Super Bowl, stunk it up in a Super Bowl, would act like this.
Celebrate.
It is
it's hard.
Amateur hour.
It's hard. I put in all these hours, 100 hours a week. I'm getting my team. I'm going to celebrate. No, you didn't have no problem when what's the junior? What's the DB? When he pieced out, when he was all in Tyreek Hill,
Antoine
you had no problem with that. You had no problem when they were celebrating all over Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
You had no problem with that.
What did I predict? That Tyreek's backflip would be the beginning of the end of the Kansas City Chiefs.
But here's the thing, Skip. You didn't have a problem with it. You only have a problem when someone is making you eat crow. As long as you're making someone else eat crow, he's piecing out in Tyreek's face. They're dancing over Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady's tweeting. I guess that must be really hurt. You had no problem with it.
You will pay for this.
I ain't gonna pay for nothing.
I've never seen anything like that. And I can't believe you were in the Hall of Fame actually buying this.
Did you see me run?
Actually co-signing on this.
Did you see me running? I was running 8 weeks after Hill. I got to be a time, me and Sharpe McVay.
You look like you were sort of walking to me. That's what it looked like.
Let's get my on the 7-week pro field replacement.
If you want to race, I'll race you. I'm good.
You want to race a man with a repair and replace him?
Yeah, I've had 3 repaired knees, and I'm good to go.
Okay, but Skip, you have to admit this. The Bucs right now defense isn't very good, and they haven't shown they was very good from the start of the season because they're not taking the ball, with the exception of Atlanta, when they got those 2 pick sixes. Skip, that defense is good. They actually, Skip, they might be worse than your Cowboys were last year, and you know how they...
No, it's not.
But Skip, here's the thing. No, your Cowboys was giving up rushing and passing yards. Teams were throwing for 300 and rushing for 200.
Devin White, did you hear what the Hall of Famer just said about your defense? It might be worse than a historically bad Cowboy defense last year. Did you, Levante David, hear what the Hall of Famer just said about you?
Skip.
And you, Shaq Barrett.
Hold on, Skip. You do realize they gave up 403 passing to Dak in first game. They just gave up 343. So that's 746 in 2 games. And then you tack on what they've already given up over 300 yards passing. They gave up 260 something to Matthew Stafford.
Could end up those are the 2 most prolific offenses in pro football this year. They well might be both of those. You just named them.
No, but I'm saying, Skip, you said you're not getting the pressure. And if you don't get pressure, when you don't have guys on the back end, those are guys, Skip. That's not Jalen Ramsey. That's not Marcus Lattimore. That's not Stephon Gilmore on the back end. Those are guys that are reliant on front foot pressure, which they are not generating currently.
Okay, Todd Bowles, you're on. It's your time.
What about Tom Brady? Tom Brady, you're on.
Well, he was on all day yesterday.
I kind of liked it. I
thought he just threw the heck out of it.
Yeah.
No mercy. Aaron Rodgers put on a show last night in Green Bay's 30-28 win over San Francisco. After falling behind with 37 seconds to go, the reigning MVP led the Packers on a late drive with 2 deep passes to Devontae Adams that set up the game-winning field goal. It was crazy to see it, but I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Shannon, what was the biggest reason Green Bay won this one?
Him. It was Rodgers. Just when you thought that they had the game in hand, and all of a sudden Jimmy Garoppolo leads them back for a touchdown with 37 seconds to go, and I'm like, that's too much time. I said because, and what happens, Skip, is that first play is what gives you the confidence. And you see what happened with Green Bay. They ran the override to Devontae Adams, and somehow he got in. He got a little deeper than what Fred Warner was able to sink to, and that got to put him at midfield. So now, with 10 seconds only ran off the clock, we're at midfield. All we need is another 15 yards, and we got a 50-yard field goal. And I'm sitting pretty. I'm liking where I am, Skip. If I can get a 50-yard field goal with Crosby. But I thought Aaron Rodgers threw the ball exceptionally well. Their running game, they ran the ball 25 times for 100 yards. A lot of their running game in the West Coast system comes down, if you see Devontae Adams, he'll catch a flat route with 2 blockers in front of him. He'll get 3, 4, 5 yards. That's their run game also. But I thought when Aaron Rodgers needed to be fantastic, and he needed to be fantastic with 37 seconds on the clock, because I know somebody was going to come in here and say Aaron Rodgers not that guy. If that had been Tom Brady. But guess what? We ain't got to worry about that. I ain't got to worry about hearing you say what Tom Brady would have done, because he didn't do what you thought he was going to do. My guy did.
Who's your guy? I don't know.
I got a bunch of guys. I got a bunch of guys. I got my homeboy. He didn't do too much yesterday. I got Rodgers. I got Matthew Stafford.
I thought you were down on Aaron Rodgers. You said you're off his bandwagon.
No. I say I'm tired of his bull jive doing all this talking.
Okay.
But, Skip, I was never one of these guys that overreacted. You understand. You've been around the game. You know great players have bad games, especially at that position. How in the hell a guy win MVP one year, and then the first game of the season next year, he stepped off a cliff? I'm like, come on, guys. The guy had a bad game. There ain't nowhere ifs, ands, or buts about that. He played terrible against the Saints opening day in Jacksonville.
You weren't impressed with him against Detroit the other day.
No. By far, this was the most. San Francisco is a talented defense. Now, they've lost some of their DBs, but that front 4, that front 7 can get after you, Skip. And they did a great job. I mean, they got him a couple of times. They sacked him one time, pressured him a little bit. But what he was able to do to get the ball off so quick, he started the game, 16 straight completion? He was 16 of 18 on throws under 2.5 seconds, which was to neutralize that rush, Skip. I can't hold on to the ball and let those guys get after me. Matt LaFleur did a great job of coming up with a game plan, says, Aaron, we need you to get the ball out of your hand quick to slow this pass rush down. But he liked to make a fatal mistake, Skip. Now, what I couldn't understand, and I tweeted this, so you mean to tell me in the NFC Championship game, 4th and goal from the 8, you won't go for it. But 4th and goal, the 3rd game of the season, you want to go for it. You better take the 3 points, and then like to come back to haunt him. But I thought Aaron Rodgers played sensational last night. Skip, and you know what? I don't know how you feel about this, but I thought the officiating in the game was terrible. Because they called one on Green Bay, the guy's falling down, and the Green Bay DB didn't even touch him. And they called pass interference.
I agree.
They got like 3 or 4 of those, and then that hit to Devontae Adams. That was helmet to helmet.
Sure.
I don't care what anybody said. I don't care. That's good hard football.
Back judge out of position.
That should have been 15 yards, and Devontae Adams shouldn't have been back in that ball game. Ain't no way you take a shot like that and 2 plays later.
Well, if he wouldn't have been back in the ball game, you would have lost.
They would have, but Skip, but what they say about the concussions, knowing what we know now, you must protect the player from themselves. Of course, everybody wants to go back in the game. I've been in situations, man. I need to get back in there. But I don't know if we knew the depth of how concussions work and the severity they can cause later on. So I get it. You want to get in there. You want to show your teammates you're there for them. But sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. But Aaron Rodgers was the reason why.
I disagree with that because in all of my years of watching, covering, studying professional football, I have never seen anything like the 49ers strategy in the final 37 seconds of that game. Aaron Rodgers is, quote unquote, stuck in Green Bay with the best receiver in pro football. Yeah. He's also stuck in Green Bay with the best dual-purpose running back in pro football to me in the other Aaron, who's
he's top 3. Him, Kamara, and
I agree.
C-Mac.
Okay. So we get down to 37 seconds left, and already Devontae Adams has 16 targets in the game. That's a lot of targets.
Yeah, that's a lot of targets.
Wound up with 18 targets in the game. Next on the list was Valdez-Scantling with 4 targets, so just 18 to 4. So what would it tell you about the last 37 seconds? What can you not allow to happen? You cannot allow Devontae Adams to beat you. You have to do everything in your strategic power to make sure Devontae cannot get the football. You can double him, you could triple him, you could do whatever. You should just say, no, Aaron, you can't have him now.
Right.
If you want to take
Valdez-Scantling,
you can have Tunyon. You can ton away with him, whatever you want to do. But Davante is not going to beat us with 37 seconds left. So Aaron very smugly said after the game, he gave little Matty, he calls him Matt LaFleur. I give him credit. He did suggest the first play, but after that, I called the plays from there because he wants to make sure that everybody knows he's now in charge of that offense, right?
Yeah, he might have been the one that called that fourth down play, too.
So he said they tweaked this play, and they ran Davante all the way across the defensive formation. And Fred Warner is very good at coverage, but he just didn't get deep enough because Davante is just running free through the secondary, which is mind-boggling to me because he's just too good. And so Aaron just kind of lobs it up and made a nice throw, and that he got it up over Fred Warner. But there's big cushion in the backside because you got lots of room to get this ball over, and then there's the second one. That is completely uncovered to get you the field goal. So here's the first one, just a little lob down the middle. He's just wide open. Would somebody, that's just pure zone everywhere, and nobody is conscious and aware of Davante. And then this is even worse. How can you let that guy beat you? Because he is that guy for them. And to me, I just fell back in my chair and said, how on earth, without Robert Saleh as the former coordinator, now the head coach of the Jets, DeMeco Ryans is the new coordinator, and he was a nice player in this league, once upon a time defensive rookie of the year out of Alabama. But he is now first-year defensive coordinator, and he had a bad sequence there because I don't know what you're going to call. I don't know what your defenses are termed, but you have to make sure that you're going to double and take away, 17?
Yeah, Skip. He's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because they only need a field goal to beat you. If you play man and Davante or one of these guys get behind you, they're going to ask why you're playing man, why did you zone it off? You play zone and then you allow Davante or one of these guys to get a crease. I thought the thing was if they could have, and I go back to says, should Juszczyk just taking it down, just went down on the one?
You can't ask him to go against his instincts.
Exactly.
He is not going to be denied at the goal line. Obviously, if the knee goes down at the one, the game's probably going to be over. But you have to guarantee me they can get it in from the one.
That's what I'm saying. I'm guaranteed a touchdown now or possibly not getting it in. But it's a difference, Skip. If you're up by one, say you're up by one, you do that. Make them burn their timeouts, so forth and so on. But in a situation like this, Skip, when you get a 25-yard chunk play, you're at the 25-yard line. You get one chunk play, Skip, guess what? I'm at midfield. Now all I need is 15 yards, and I got Mason Crosby. Now, I don't have no rookies, some of these guys that's shanking it left and right. I don't got the Jags kicker. I don't got the Chargers kicker that's shanking them left and right. I got I got Crosby, who's very, very good.
What do I call him? Mason Crossbar. Because once upon a time, back in 2016, he beat me in a home playoff game with a 51-yarder and a 56-yarder, both of which looked like they were going to miss off his foot, and then they mysteriously hooked or sliced back across.
Well, last night, there was no doubt. When it hit left his foot,
he nailed it. He nailed it from 51 yards. It was right down Broadway.
And this is where you really make your bones. I mean, somebody has to make a play, Skip, but you're playing a zone. You basically said nothing cheap, nothing deep. Which means don't let anything get over your head, Skip. So he was really in a tough spot. I don't really know. If I'm the defensive coordinator in that situation, I don't really know how I played any different than what he played it.
I'm just going to double I'm just going to double
and roll the dice and say roll the dice for someone else.
You can beat me because I know where he wants to go with the football because he's getting – it's like Mahomes and Kelsey. Mahomes just looks for Kelsey. Like when in doubt, he's just looking for 87. When in doubt, is Davante 7? He's 17. Yeah, he's just looking for 17, wherever he is. He is a terror. The way he can move, his explosiveness, his leaping ability, his strength, he gets stronger by the year. And he seems to get quicker by the year.
And see, here's the thing what they did, Skip. If you notice on this deep over route, he's not the slot guy. He's the outside guy. So Warner's thinking that, okay, I'm not thinking he's going to run the deep over, so I'm getting depth.
Okay, I got it, but nobody even sees him.
No.
It's all like he became the invisible man and then materialized just in time to catch the ball. It was a nice throw by Aaron to get it up over a Fred Warner who can be dangerous in that situation.
Normally in that situation, Skip, when you see a stack like that, you're thinking dagger. I'm thinking got clear, he's going to run the dagger route. But he goes all the way over.
Okay, and then the second one to set up the 51-yarder, This is just silly pitch and catch. It's just like, oh, thank you for that.
No.
Seriously?
But a situation like that, if that's safe, I don't know why the safety. Skip, why is the safety that far down? That far back? Look where the safety is.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It's like, oh, thank you. We'll take that. And Mason Crosbar, you're on. Well, it's just ridiculous.
No, safety, you too far back.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time about the other team. I just can't trust Jimmy G. He made one error that I thought had lost the football game where he fumbled the ball backward. Yes. And it's just pure classic Jimmy G.
Right.
And your team, the Packers, could not capitalize it and only came away with the field goal. Because if you...
No, they went for it on the fourth down. I don't think they scored. They didn't score that way.
Field goal off that.
I don't think so, Skip.
Okay, but whatever. They did not go cash it in and end the game.
Right.
Because I thought the game was over at that point.
Yeah, because the other one, Skip, the one he was throwing to Kittles.
Yes.
Jair Alexander has no business being there. I don't know, because he's supposed to sink, and he sees it.
No, that
was a heck of a play, Skip.
That was the best pass all day by DB.
Yes, because he's got third. He doesn't have middle. He's deep third.
Yep. And then I happened to be texting this very early this morning with our man Lil Wayne, who's going to be in Dallas tonight to watch the Cowboys on his birthday tour.
Right.
Happy birthday to Wayne. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but he was saying that he was at the game last night, and he said you could not believe the energy in the crowd for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Because Trey Lance came in on the goal line and immediately
right before the half,
ran it in. And then he came in on another goal line play and rolled to the right, and they mugged Kittles in the end zone. Remember, they just knocked him down and beat him up.
Yeah.
And it was first and goal. And then they brought Jimmy G back in to score the touchdown.
Yes.
Okay, so to me, this situation is screaming for him to go with Trey Lance. I don't know that he's got a cracked bone in his forefinger of his throwing hand. I don't know if that's bothering his throwing, but at some point soon, you got to go with Trey Lance.
Skip, it's not like, Skip, I could agree with you. If Jimmy G was playing bad, he made one mistake. But you
know that's who he is.
That's who he is. But, Skip, I'm not so sure that Trey Lance is going to be better. We've seen the way these rookie quarterbacks are playing.
Okay, guess what the 49ers did running the football? They went 21 times for 67 yards. And my man from University of Oklahoma by way of Ohio State, Trey Sermon, he went 10 times for 31 yards. So that won't cut it.
And he had one for 16. So he
had one for 16.
The other 9 were 15 yards.
How often does Kyle Shanahan's run game get held to 67 yards? Okay, you don't think Trey Lance would change that world? You don't think he would provide such a threat that all of a sudden the run game would open up with him at the controls?
Yeah, maybe, Skip, but are you going to assure me that I'm going to be able to get what I get out of Jimmy G in the passing game?
Yes, I believe you would. He's got a huge arm.
He does, Skip, but huge and accurate is something entirely different.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a while before you see Trey Lance. I think you're going to see the sprinkling here and there, but I don't think Jimmy G's played bad enough for him to lose his job.
Well, congratulations to Aaron Rodgers. You got away with it.
And there you got away with nothing. Because, normally what happens, he's been in this situation before, but the field goal kicker missed, and then everybody look at Aaron Rodgers, he didn't play well. But that's just the way it goes, Skip, because we can look at Tom Brady. He had excellent field goal. Gostkowski was money. We know what Vinatieri is, Skip. He's just going to the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
If I were a Packer fan today like Lil Wayne, I would be wondering, why can't Aaron ever do that in an NFC Championship game? He's 1-4 in the NFC Championship games.
Goodness.
Am I right?
He did that last night. We'll talk about the NFC Championship game if they come again.
Remember the last one?
Oh, my goodness.
We'll get to it, I promise. We're going to go back to it. We also have to talk about your other guy, Shannon, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs. They were handed their second straight loss after falling to the Chargers by a final score of 30-24. Kansas City turned the ball over 4 times, including 2 interceptions thrown by Mahomes. The Chiefs now find themselves dead last in the AFC West at 1-2. This is a weird September for the Chiefs. Shannon, how worried are you about your Super Bowl pick?
I'm worried because the Chiefs, they don't look good, Skip, defensively. They don't really generate pressure. And the thing is that when your defense isn't very good, the last thing you can do is turn the ball over as an offensive unit. And we saw that last week. I think it was a Sunday night. Sunday night. We saw what happened with Patrick Mahomes. They had the 2 turnovers. Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled late in the ball game, which which actually sealed their fate. But then we come back and they turned the ball over 4 times, 3 straight possessions. But it just goes to show you how powerful their offense is, Skip. You turn the ball over 4 times and you lose by possession. So that just lets you know just how good offensively they are. But here's some defensive numbers. The defense is giving up 29, 36, and 30. Tied for the Lions, the 3rd worst scoring defense in the NFL. 3rd worst total defense. Worst yards per play. They're the 2nd worst rushing defense, Skip. And that's only after they gave up 77 yards yesterday. So if they'd have gave up their customary, they'd have been dead last. And what we're seeing is that we're seeing a defense that's reverting back to like what Mahomes had his first year starting, Skip. We knew how bad they were, but Mahomes kept bailing them out. But he can't bail them out if he's turning the ball over. 3 straight turnovers really doing this game. And Justin Herbert, Skip, I did not see this. I did not see this kid. I knew he was athletic, Skip, but I didn't know he could throw the ball like this. He was sensational. But I am concerned about the Kansas City Chiefs because their defense isn't very good. And they bump Chris Jones outside. And so to try to get some pressure, take advantage of, some weak offensive tackle, Skip. But I'm not so sure they wouldn't be better served bumping him back inside so he can get some interior push. But the Chiefs defense, I mean, for the coach to go for it on 4th and 4, and then they get a false start penalty and says, hell no, I'm still going for it on 4th and 9?
He did.
That tells you.
It took a pass side to do it, to a pass interference.
But here's the thing, Skip. I'm telling you, I have no fear. I don't have no respect for your defense that you're going to be able to stop me. And it always seems like, Skip, every time guys are running around like, guys are wide open. Austin Eckler catches the ball out of the backfield and nobody's within 15 yards of him. Keenan Allen catches the ball in the end zone and everybody's looking around. And it's like there's always confusion. I am deeply concerned for this defense. I just don't know how much. I mean, Pat Mahomes had a good game, but when your defense is bad, Skip, you cannot turn it over.
I think you didn't really mention your guy, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you didn't really go in on it?
I said Patrick Mahomes cannot turn the ball over when your defense is that bad. They had 4 of them. And the pick to Kelsey, I mean, they're talking about with a no-look pass, Skip. The receiver doesn't know it's no look. It doesn't matter if he's looking or not. You just catch the ball when he throws it to you.
All right. I've been saying this for the last 4 years on this show. Patrick Mahomes cannot keep getting away with playing the way he plays. You just can't do it at this level. He more and more has to try to live up to his hype, to the expectations that he will go Harlem Globetrotters in an NFL game with no looks and between the legs and behind the backs and whatever else. And it's getting worse by the game to me. If we could go back quickly to the Ravens game, you remember what opened the door at Baltimore for the Ravens to storm back on the ground was this play. Patrick, just eat it. That's a bad idea. But he's gotten away with those before. And when in doubt, he just sees 87. I'll throw it to 87, and he'll catch it because he catches everything I throw. And unfortunately, a purple guy caught that ball. And that opened the floodgates. Okay, so yesterday, early on, he tries a no-look pass to the undrafted kid from Hawaii. And you just can't keep doing this because he's not going to be ready for it. And it's probably not going to be that accurate. It was behind him and high, and it results in
Okay, Skip, okay. Tip up my hand. Are you going to go try to make the tackle, or are you going to go touch the guy down? I mean, he just threw it like it was at practice.
Okay, it's just a horrible idea, and you have to do it conventionally. You can't keep getting away with that.
How about just catch the ball?
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's behind you wild high, and you're not even sure he's throwing it to you, and it comes unexpectedly. And then if we could go to the end of the game, what loses the game for Kansas City is he runs around and backpedals, throws it off his back foot and just says, I see 87. I see him. I'll just throw it up and he'll go up and get it. Surely he will, unless I throw it 5 yards over his head. You can't play like that and win games even at home because they turned it over, as you said, 4 times, and the visitors turned it over 0 times.
And they scored 21 points off 3 of those turnovers.
You're probably going to lose that game. You're asking for it because he keeps asking for it. And again, seems like a good kid. We've had him on the show. He came on here after the Super Bowl to gloat and rub it in on me. But he got away with that big third down pass in the Super Bowl where he just flung it up into the flat, and Tyreek had to come back and wave for a fair catch and catch it.
But Skip,
well, it's just you can live and die, by those kind of crazy passes for a while, but after a while, you're going to die more than you're going to live.
But think about this. The Kansas City's defense has only stopped one team from scoring a touchdown once they got into the red zone. Skip, at some point, you got to make people kick field goals. If you let them score, everybody scored. Once they get to the 20, it's a touchdown. Yesterday was the only first time that they held somebody to a field. Skip, you can't do that. You can't win like that.
All I know is I would not sell home insurance to my homeboy because he's high risk, man.
Yeah.
He's going, it's going to be pestilence or famine or flood or something's going to happen to his home because he is asking for trouble.
Yes, he plays high risk, and you can't temper him because you take away most of what he is. You have to let him play, but just, re-emphasize, we're not very good defensively. We can't you turn the ball over, we can't go back and take it right back from them like we once could.
But they wasted 186 yards rushing.
Yes.
Shouldn't that be good enough to keep Justin Herbert at bay?
Yes, because here's the thing, Skip. They're playing the shell coverage in which Tampa instituted against them. And so, and I tweeted, I said, you can't throw them out of it. You got to run them out of it. They're enticing you. They're daring you. We rather have you rush for 200 than have Pat Mahomes throw for 400. So they did a great job of running it, Skip. But guess what happened? Now, all of a sudden, Edwards-Helaire, he gets the ball punched out. So now, Skip, he's running like this here through the hole because he's not comfortable having it in one arm. It's just they can't turn the football over like they've been turning it over because they don't have the defense to stand behind them and bail them out.
So here come the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes.
Here come your Denver Broncos.
Yes.
There were yesterday the Los Angeles Chargers.
This division is tough.
I'd say it's pretty tough. And I would say this team is looking up at those three teams right now out of the cellar, which I didn't see coming.
Right. And you got to go on the road. You got to go to San Diego. You still got the Raiders. You still got the Broncos. You still got 2 games against the Broncos, 2 games against the Raiders. But, Skip, their defense is concerning to me. I'll say that. I can, because here's the thing. I can tell Mahomes, look, I need you to do a better job of protecting the football. What do I tell the guys? How do I tell my defense to stop being the worst defense in football? I can't get better players. That's it. I got what I got.
So I will conclude this discussion by saying I'm also slightly concerned about my AFC Super Bowl pick, the Cleveland Browns, whose defense just annihilated poor Justin Fields.
But that's not saying much to that offensive line.
That's not saying much. I agree with you. But yesterday, guess who came back?
Odell looked good, too.
Oh, did he?
He looked good, Odell.
So Baker went back to Odell-centric and threw him 7 targets. The next wide receiver on that list got 2 targets.
Well, there was no Jarvis in the game. Who you want him to throw the ball to?
Well, I'm worried about this because I think he's going to go Odell crazy, and it won't be good for Baker Mayfield.
He threw 7 targets to Kareem Hunt? I mean, so what, you want Peoples-Jones and Higgins and Hooper, you want them to get more targets?
Yes, I do. Got to spread the ball. That's why he's been on such a roll until yesterday. And they were having a hard time holding off the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. The Bears sacked Baker 5 times.
Got it. Yep. Looking for Odell, holding the ball, Pat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Where are you?
So see what you do. Baker struggles. It's Odell's fault. So whose fault was it when he didn't struggle? When he wasn't in the game and he struggled? Whose fault was it then?
Well, we didn't need a fault. He was on fire. He was on fire down the stretch.
Y'all lost to Kansas City. Odell wasn't there.
Oh, I thought he played great in that game.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No mercy. While Tom Brady's Bucs fell short in L.A., his old team didn't fare better. Mac Jones threw 3 interceptions as the Patriots lost 28-13, and now both those teams are set on a collision course to meet next Sunday night in TB12's first game back in Foxborough since leaving after the 2019 season. Should be interesting. And I know you guys have 10 cases of dew riding on that game. So, Shannon, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in Belichick beating Brady?
I'm at a 0.
A 0?
Actually, I'm lower than a 0. Can I get negative? Can I give you some negative integers? Can I get lower than 0?
Would you like to buy your way out of the bet?
Hold on. I did win the bet yesterday. So we be pretty clear.
No, you didn't win the bet.
I'll be free and clear.
You said they're going to beat two teams. They're going to beat the Rams and the Patriots, and it was 10-4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, then it would be 6 cases for me, right?
No, it'd be 4 cases for you. I would win 10, you would win 4. 10-4.
No, that's not how I understood the bet.
If I won, if they beat both teams, I get 10 cases. If they didn't beat both teams, you would get 4 cases. That's what 10-4 means.
I thought it was 10-6.
No, 10-4.
Okay, 10-4.
Yeah.
So this is for 4 cases.
Right, for 4 cases.
We're wrong about that.
Right.
Okay, so that's correct. 4 cases.
I would buy it for 2 cases.
You want to buy it out for 2 cases right now?
Now, you know what? Damn, if I didn't see this command. Hold on, you know what, Skip? I was just thinking, where are all those former Patriots that was talking about how maybe Mac Jones might be dancing too much at practice? Maybe it's the way he dressed coming to practice. It might be some of that going on.
Could be. Maybe he's on social too much.
Yeah. Skip, I didn't see this, Skip. You know I had picked this team. I said, Skip, they're going to go 10-7. I got this team as a playoff team, Skip. They look bad. And what's happening is that they're telling Mac, if your first read is not there, check the ball down. Skip, you can't get anywhere doing that. 31, he threw 51 times for 271. They ran the ball 17 times for 49 yards. So basically they said, we want the ball in your quarterback's hand, knowing that you don't want it, he's going to be low, it's going to be low risk. So we're going to check it, you're going to check it down. I did not see the Patriots playing this bad. I feel very comfortable in saying, had Cam Newton been their starting quarterback, they'd be 3-0.
Really?
I feel very comfortable saying 3-0.
Maybe.
They for sure would have beat the Dolphins. And they won the last game. They beat the Jets. Hell, everybody's going to beat the Jets. That's not saying anything.
Yeah, I'll buy this.
But how about this, Skip?
I'm just not sure they could have won yesterday.
How about this? They're no worse than 2-1.
No worse. I would buy that.
Even if they're not 3-0, they're no worse than 2-1.
But do remember, that was the same Saints team that got dismantled at Carolina and looked horrible in doing so.
Yes.
And then goes up to Foxborough and dismantled Belichick's team.
The offense looked pedestrian yesterday. I'm like, what is this? But I keep telling people, Josh McDaniel is only good with Tom Brady. Now, we've seen him at other locations. You saw him at Denver. You saw him as OC at the Rams. And how did he look? Oh, Josh, and to think the coach was going to give him a head coaching job, the coach Andrew Luck. What? Man, this here, Skip, I'm at a 0. If I could go lower than 0, I would. Okay. But that's where I am. I'm concerned for the Patriots.
Okay, so you want to buy out of it for 2 cases?
Let me think about it.
Okay, I'll let you think about it. Okay, now back to Bill Belichick. I believe he's in huge trouble this Sunday, and I think he knows he's in huge trouble. I also believe that if Tom Brady has ever looked ahead, looked past somebody to the next game, he did so yesterday because he allowed 2 members of his inner circle, his father and his trainer, to speak to Boston media this past week as they were trying to prepare for, to me, easily the hardest game on their schedule. And you can't tell me Tom didn't sign off on both of those interviews because you know they ran them by Tom. And father and trainer were told, go ahead. Yeah. His mind was going toward Foxborough because that's the game he circled before the year started. I want that game, the 4th game. The 3rd one's fine. I'd like to go win that one. I'm sure he looked at the schedule and said, we could win every game. Right. But I think he was slightly looking ahead, and I think his team came out a little flat yesterday because they sensed their leader had his mind on next week. I don't know about having his mind on next week, but I know he's going to want to score 100 points on him. He's going to want to score 100 points. That's why he's still in the game, wanting to keep his arm warm for next week. And remember, 2 other of his receivers did not end well in New England, Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski. Yes. So you don't think, and Gronk got hurt yesterday. He got hit, but the x-rays were negative. I thought he had cracked ribs because he got cold-cocked from... Your guy got him blown up. No, he did not. No, he just didn't see him because he hesitated in the middle, and then as he wheeled, it wasn't like one of the quote-unquote kill shots you see where you throw him right into a head-on collision. Got Gio Bernard blowed up, too. No, he did not. That blowed up? Yeah, well, by the way, on the final play, Gio Bernard looked like he hurt his knees. Oh, who threw him the ball? Okay, well, did he score? Yeah. He got blown up in the process. Okay, so sometimes it's called football for a reason. Why was he in the game? Why was who in the game?
Tom Brady and Gio Bernard down 17 with 2 minutes to go.
I tell you, it's one guy you do not bet against. He's the comeback king of the history of the NFL.
So you thought he was going to come back in the NFL game with 17 points?
I wouldn't write that guy off. That's the one guy I would not.
I would write him off.
Okay, so the point was that they are all pointing toward next week, and I assume Antonio will be off COVID protocol by next week. And what I saw yesterday, and I watched the Saints game start to finish, not only did they beat New England, I thought they beat them up.
Yeah.
I thought they just out-physicaled them, won both lines of scrimmage. And Mac Jones, you can argue he looked better than any other rookie starter
but
yesterday.
But that ain't saying much.
But it's not saying anything. And I thought he was a little off all day because they were all over him. Yes. They couldn't block them. And maybe he'll have more time against the Bucs, who are having a hard time generating much of a pass rush. But the point was, he looked like a rookie yesterday. And if we could see his interceptions one more time just to see, he was just a little off in his accuracy from start to finish. Here's the first one, and he just got hit and popped it up. And here's the second one, and this is...
That's on Jonnu. Yeah, that's not on him. That's on Jonnu.
Yeah, it's a little outside, but he should have caught the ball, as should have Gronk from Brady. And this was a bad throw. I don't know what he's thinking. They were on the wrong page, and he went over and put his head in his hands on the bench.
Gonna be like
Belichick's in trouble. So Belichick this morning spoke on WEEI on his weekly radio gig that he does on Mondays. He spoke about Brady and why Belichick believes Brady left, if we could hear this.
Well, I think we've been through all the dynamics of that. There were a lot of things there that, he looked at his options and made his decision. We weren't as good an option as Tampa, so, you'd have to ask him about all that, but it wasn't a question I wanted, that's for sure.
Weren't as good an option. I'll let you go first on this.
Skip, if you wanted Brady, instead of giving him an $8 million signing bonus to make his salary $23 million, how about just extending? Because if you'd wanted Brady, you could have extended him. What Brady did not want you guys to do is that get to the end of his contract, then you have the right to franchise him. Once you let a guy go outside and he gets an opportunity to look around, and he's like, they got more talent over there than we got. They haven't won in a long time, but they're loaded. Yeah, we win, but I ain't got nothing to win with anymore.
And whose fault was that?
The guy that he's over everything. He's the head coach. He picks the players. He's free agency. He has final say on 53. He does everything. It's Coach Belichick's fault that he let the cupboard get bare. So he's right. It was Tom's decision, but you made Tom's decision real easy for him.
Do you believe the final thing that we heard, that obviously we wanted Tom to stay?
No.
I do not believe that for one split second.
I believe Mr. Kraft wanted him to stay, but he wasn't going to stand in the way of Coach Belichick wanting Tom gone. Because if you, Skip, guess how you know you want somebody to stay? You extend their contract. You don't let the guy get to the punctuation, the period on the contract, and then he gets an opportunity to look around and see what's out there. It's like, you know what, we want you back. Well, he's already gone and saw Tampa, and they got 2 Pro Bowl receivers. They got 2 young tight ends, solid offensive line. They got a really good defense. And now if you get somebody that's not going to turn the ball over, that's not going to have them playing 33, 34 minutes a game, this could be really good. And I'm going to have faith. I want AB. I want Gronk. How many times you think Tom Brady could have gone to Coach Belichick and said, there's a player out there I really think we should get? And Coach Belichick says, okay, Tommy. You know, like, if you don't get out, if you don't, first of all, they barely speak. He twirling that whistle. But I don't believe
when he spoke to Brady, it was harshly.
Yes.
It was critical.
Yes.
In film sessions and on the practice field.
Correct.
So that's all Brady knows. And that's why Brady has been on a revenge tour now for over a year. And it will basically conclude in Brady's mind this Sunday night in Foxborough.
Oh, Brady, how many yards did Brady throw for yesterday?
432.
I gave him 462.
Would you?
Yep. He gonna try. Now, I'm not gonna say he gonna be well over 300. He might get in the 4, Skip. Yes, Brady is trying to. I told you, Skip, it's like when we played the Raiders. I know Mike wasn't going to call the dogs off. We're trying to score 50. because how Mike felt about the Raiders after they had fired him 20 games into his coaching career.
Yep.
I know how Tom Brady feels about Coach Belichick. He believes Coach Belichick wanted him out. He did everything. Skip, the Self-Wickersham article said that he wanted Jimmy G, and they had a meeting. He and Mr. Kraft had a meeting, and Mr. Kraft said, you will trade Jimmy G.
Yep.
Somehow that got back to Tom Brady. Maybe Tom could see the tea leaves with the writing on the wall.
He knew. Yep.
So, hold on. You done tried to get rid of me. You say all the things. They didn't release a statement. You remember that statement? Tom and Mr. Kraft and Coach Belichick, we've been committed to winning and that nothing changes, yada, yada, yada. I get all that. Tom Brady is not. Tom is this guy. There's the Tom that we've seen over the last 20 years we was in New England. And we had, Tom, the guy next door. Oh, golly gee whiz, Tom. But if you think these guys aren't cutthroat, he remembers everything. Skip, he can name every quarterback that went in front of him.
Absolutely.
He can damn near name every player that got selected in front of him.
Absolutely.
And you think you got me up out of here? I wanted to finish my career.
He did.
And you got me up out of here?
Yep.
Oh, he tried to split Coach Belichick's dome. And if he can throw for 500, he gonna throw for 500. They're not calling the dogs out, Skip. Okay. They're not.
I got it. But sometimes, obviously, when you want to throw for 500, the first 5-yard pass is pretty hard to complete because the Patriots are going to come into this just fighting for their lives.
They are.
And they don't want to get shown up and humiliated and embarrassed at home by the GOAT.
Well, ain't nothing they can do about it.
And there's going to be a whole lot of 12 jerseys in that crowd. You know it, and I know it.
Yes.
And the crowd's going to have extremely mixed emotions. And
no, they're not. They're going to be cheering for Tom Brady.
Well, they'll cheer both ways. I think they'll cheer for the home team and they'll cheer for the visiting quarterback.
Skip, you heard about what happened with the Giants. They booed the owner. They booed him. This Eli celebration. Eli going up in the Ring of Honor. They retired his jersey. He's getting his name up.
Yeah, and what did John Mara say after? I deserve to be booed.
Yeah. Oh, you say that, but it hurts, Skip.
Oh.
Can you imagine if the Cowboys booed Jerry Jones? Can you imagine how that would make him feel? You know how they prideful men, Skip. So for me, Tom. No, I don't believe Coach Belichick. I do not believe Coach Belichick wanted Tom Brady to finish his career. He did everything he possibly could to make sure Tom Brady didn't. He got Jimmy G. He tried to insert Jimmy G. Coach Mr. Kraft put a kibosh to that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you wanted him, instead of giving him $8 million to make his salary $23 million his last year, extend him 2 years.
I agree. It was painful enough for Belichick and Kraft to have to sit back and watch him go to Tampa and take the Buccaneers to a Super Bowl championship in a pandemic with a torn MCL. I think it would be even worse to have to stand there on the sideline and watch it firsthand and sit up in the owner's box and watch it firsthand if he does a number on your team or what's left of your team.
Skip, guess who Coach Belichick wanted in New England? Matthew Slater. He's still there. Guess who he didn't want? Willie McGinnis, Richard Seymour, Ty Law, Rodney Harrison, Lawyer Malloy.
But he got away with all that because he had Tom Brady.
Exactly. So you could say, we wanted Tom. No, you didn't. When you want somebody, you don't wait till the person filed divorce proceeding to say, let's work this out. You work it out before it gets to that point. Well, you work it out before Tom Brady gets to the point that there's a possibility he might leave.
Yep. I just guessed that the Bucs would be about 3-point favorites.
They're going to be about 6 or 7.
Well, you're correct. They're 6. It opened at 6, and it could be bet up to 7 or 8 before this is over.
3?
Because I believe this will get messy if he has anything to say about it, the guy on the left,
Skip,
and he will.
Skip, you know how he is, Skip. You know the guy when the Pittsburgh Steelers DB said, we going to beat Tom Brady. What did he do? He throws a flea flicker that Randy Moss catches it. He runs all the way down the field. This is the fastest Tom Brady has ever run in his life.
He
ran faster than did the 40 at the combine. All the way down the field just to get into the guy's face. What happened? All in his face. So what do you think he's going to do? Skip, he's going to say, now, you know Tom is great at this thing. This is a great team. They got a lot of great players over there. Got a lot of great teammates on that team. A lot of great friends. New England fans were great to me. Yada, yada, yada. Inside, I'm trying to kill a gnat with a sledgehammer.
That is correct. And we are going to see, I think, the first appearance this year so far of Psycho Tom. I think he's going to be out of his mind to do the most damage possible to his former coach.
His mom and dad. Skip, now, you know you play good. Mom and dad there, you know you got to play good. The mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel bad for the Patriots.
Yeah, you think he says
y'all better play y'all best game of the year.
And, he only needs 68 yards to pass Drew Brees.
He gonna get that in the first drive.
Leader in passing yards. I don't think it's going to.
Now you got to stop the game for that, Skip.
To get it done. Are we cheering him? Is it a standing ovation?
Do you? Yes.
They won't stop
Skip,
the game.
that's the most passing yards in NFL history. You gotta.
I know, but he doesn't belong to them anymore.
Hey, don't worry.
Mr. Kraft will say no.
I'm stopping the game myself. I'm gonna get the ball.
How fitting this is in Foxborough that's taking place.
No mercy, mercy, no mercy. Let's go face to face. I embrace debate.
This is the hardest working man in show business.
Are you actually drinking out of an Undisputed mug right now, too? And then a hat behind you as well?
Thank you.
You're a real fan.
How old is LeGon James now? Isn't he like 39? At least I made him laugh. I'm doing it just because I love you, and that's all. Period. End of story.
Undisputed.
We love Wayne around here. We wanted to wish a very happy birthday to our friend of the show, and of course, the man behind the theme song, Lil Wayne. Thank you so much for everything you do for our show. We miss you around here.
I would like to say a very happy birthday to our man, Lil Wayne, who's on his birthday bonanza of a sports tour over America. He flew all the way from L.A. to Boston on Saturday to watch his Red Sox, unfortunately, lose.
Catch that L.
Yeah, they caught a big L. Lots of L's. But then he flew all the way back across country yesterday to San Francisco to watch his Packers come up big late against the 49ers. He also is very close to several 49ers, including Kyle Shanahan. Today, believe it or not, he is flying all the way to Dallas, Texas. And I'm like, what are you going to Dallas for? You hate the, as he calls them, cowgirls. He says, I want to see Micah live. Micah Parsons live because he thinks he is the real deal. You called it first.
I think he's the real deal also. Happy birthday, nephew. Bro, I appreciate everything you've done for this show with the theme song coming on here. Short notice, you always come on and talk with me and Skip, and so we really appreciate it. Happy birthday, many more to come. But, bro, you got to get you another team going to see the Red Sox.
I don't know. They've had a pretty good history.
They ain't better than old Yank. Giancarlo. You see big Giancarlo?
I want to travel around all these games. He's the one to hang out with. Happy birthday, Wayne. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's talk about it right now. Unfortunately, though, some tough news for the Cowboys heading into tonight's game. News came out this weekend that La'el Collins' 5-game suspension came down after reportedly attempting to bribe a sample collector for his drug test. And meanwhile, linebacker Keanu Neal won't play tonight after testing positive for COVID and entering a new 10-day isolation period. Still, Dallas will look to beat Philly and take over first place in the NFC East tonight. So, Shannon, who wins, Eagles or Cowboys?
Skip, look, can we address the La'el Collins situation first, Skip? Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Skip, it was reported they had already negotiated. The NFL and the NFLPA had negotiated a 2-game suspension.
It's done.
It's done.
He'd be playing tonight.
He'd be playing tonight. Skip, Skip, because first of all, a missed test is a positive, let alone 5, 6, 7 missed tests. You can't say, well, they gave us the day off, so I didn't come in. I get it. There's a situation, I think, with the strength and conditioning coach.
Well, he had some legit excuses, which is why the NFLPA won the right to reduce to 2 games.
No, we're going to appeal. And then you try to...
What?
Skip, there's a reason. It used to be when I first, because I was the first year when they had the stringent drug test, Skip. They used to let you go in there. They turned their back. They let people go into the stalls.
Yep.
Guys started hiding urine samples. Then guys started getting the Wizinator and getting some urine off the internet. And so they say, you know what? So now, Skip, you got to drop your trousers to your knees, which is humiliating, right there in front of the collector. Skip, you can't say, I miss, and think it's going to be okay. You got to take the 2 games. But you know, this is Jerry. Jerry probably talked him into it. You should appeal this. You can't win because you had already won. Because it's supposed to be a minimum of, 4 games because of the missed test. You got it down to 2. You took it just like a court, Skip. If they offer you, say, Skip, we're going to give you 20 days if you take this. And you say, no, I'm going to go to trial. You get 3 years. Okay, now I want the 20 days. No! That. Keanu Neal being in COVID protocol, Skip, look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And I know the guys are vaccinated, but you're still going to have these flare-ups.
Okay, I don't think he's vaccinated because he's in the protocol for the unvaccinated.
Okay, well, he's not vaccinated then. But even the vaccinated, you're going to have these flare-ups. The thing with vaccinated, Skip, it's only 5 days. You test negative twice, you get to come out. You might even get to play. So if you could test positive on a Monday and Tuesday, Skip, have 2 negative tests and be able to play on a Sunday. That's possible. But now back to this. Skip, for me, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I know you're convinced that Jalen Hurts is the guy. But, Skip, I haven't seen enough. I saw the first game that he played against New Orleans, and he played well. And then I saw the subsequent games that he played after that were not so well. I saw what he did against the Atlanta Falcons. And then I saw the games that he played that weren't the Falcons, and I didn't see that. So I'm not convinced, as you are, that Jalen Hurts is the guy for the Eagles. It's not like they have a whole lot of options. And now you look at it, Skip. Brandon Graham, out for the season, Achilles. Brandon Brooks, out 8 weeks, pec strain. Jordan Mailata, the left tackle, starter, out.
Yep.
Safety Rodney McLeod, out. At some point in time, Skip, you can be the next man up. But you can't have 7, 8 people out and say next man, next man, next man, next man up. Because eventually that catches up with you. So for me, I'm looking at the Cowboys. The Cowboys should win this game.
Yep.
I understand it's a division rival, Skip. But I believe they win this game. I believe they win this game comfortable. And they should take off because I've seen their schedule over the next 4 weeks. They should be able to launch.
Okay, my turn on La'el Collins and Keanu Neal. I am so disappointed in both of these guys because La'el Collins got stolen by Jerry Jones in the draft because he had character issues, obviously, at LSU. That's why he was available at all because nobody wanted to draft him.
He was undrafted free agent.
That's what I'm saying. He's just sitting there.
He was had a first-round grade.
And Jerry said, I'll try it.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. This is a character issue. You're trying to bribe the collector, and the whole idea of what you just did, you had it down to 2 games. I don't get it. I also fault Jerry for that because I am assuming Jerry advised him, let's go ahead and appeal it.
Thank you.
And here we go, 5 games.
Yes.
From 2 back to 5. Keanu Neal, we have talked about all these guys who I'm having to assume he's not vaccinated because that's what they declared. He's in the unvaccinated extended protocol.
He's not vaccinated then.
Okay, so my point is, I get it. You got your personal reasons, but this isn't about personal. This is about a team concept. And for the sake of your team, and I thought he was an emerging team leader, you just have to get vaccinated because that's your responsibility to your football team as a collective whole. Team is what we say. Team is what a lot of people say, Skip, because that's what they think the outside world wants to hear. We're a band of brothers. But when it comes down to it, it's a bunch of individualities that's a part of a team. Okay, now back to tonight's game. I do believe in Jalen Hurts. I fear Jalen Hurts tonight. I think he's going to have a very good game because he makes plays. However good they can be, he will get them to that level tonight. Because of all those losses, I don't believe they're as good as my team is. Right. I think it'll be a classic division battle. I think it will be wildly entertaining. But I think in the end, Dak Prescott is on fire. And I believe that with Amari and CD, Amari's been beat up, but those two, no Michael Gallup, obviously, I think they are going to rock and roll tonight. Close early? Close late. I got it close late. I got it 28-25 Dallas. But I need to know that my team is going to stay balanced. I don't need to see 51 pass attempts, 58 pass attempts like I saw at Tampa. I need what happened 31-27 runs to passes. That was the magic formula at Chargers. 31 rushes to 27 passes. Well, the defense dictates that. I mean, if we can run, they went to the game saying our short passing game, our quick passing game is going to be our runs, knowing that you're not going to have a whole lot of success running the ball against Tampa. So that was their game plan. I don't have a problem with that. The short passing game, they throwing a lot of quick stuff to Amari, CD Lamb trying to get 2 blockers out in front of him. Skip, did you see last night Lazard, the wide receiver from Green Bay, got in the way of Bosa and allowed Juszczyk to score a touchdown? We did. So you mean to tell me Blake Jarwin? Now, that's Nick Bosa, the second pick of the draft, defensive lineman, top guy.
and you got a wide receiver shield him off. You mean to tell me a tight end at 245 pounds can't shield off? You told me he was undrafted, was out of the league until they signed him a couple of days before.
Yep. Okay. So I don't need him to block. I don't ask him to block.
You should even get in the way. How about getting in the way? Can you ask him to get in the way?
No, I need my running back to be able to beat somebody to the pylon. And unfortunately, my 1A should have been in the game. If you're going to pitch it to somebody and try to outrace an undrafted free agent safety to the pylon, it should be Tony Pollard. Tony, don't call me Mike.
Somehow, I'm. You know what? I'm listening to you, and I've been listening to you over the last couple of weeks. I think there's been a groundswell. I'm starting to hear it in your heart. You want Tony Pollard to get more carries than Zeke. And Zeke being your guy, you got his pitcher side your bed.
Thunder and lightning.
But I think you want lightning first.
50-50. Nope. I go, if they do 31, I'll do 16 to 15 Zeke. I need it balanced up to where it's right in the same ballpark.
Oh.
Because Zeke will wear you down between the tackles, just warrior running through brick walls, and Tony Pollard will electrify you with his burst off the edge.
That don't what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me you want to talk about Tony Pollard should have been in the game. My 1A should have been in the game. Seemed like you sounded like a little down. You a little out on Zeke.
Well, if you're going to run some option toss play, it has to be to Tony Pollard. If you're going to run some quasi-Hail Mary at the end of the half where you're going to throw a short pass to CD and then let him run and pitch back, it should be pitching back to Tony Pollard because you would have scored on that play. Zeke just can't run that way anymore. It's not the Ohio State Cowboys.
He should have been able to limbo into the end zone if the tight end does his job. How about that? How about if we just do everybody does their job? We can say, well, if Zeke had Chris Johnson speed or Chris Johnson had Tyreek speed, how about Blake Jarwin does his job?
Okay, you're fixated on that. You cannot let him off.
You could have won the game.
Okay.
You could have won the game.
I don't know if it would have won the game. It was early third quarter.
Yes.
But it would have been a big boost. I will give you that.
You scored. So think about it. A walk-off field goal beat you.
Okay, I've got Ezekiel Elliott one-on-one with an undrafted free agent who had just been called up from the practice squad, and he can't beat him.
You got Blake Jarwin one-on-one with an undrafted free agent he beat.
All right, well, that's just irrelevant.
I got the Cowboys by 10 tonight.
You got it by 10?
Yep.
Really? I would bet you, but I don't want to bet against my team. Okay. This is going to be a classic division battle, Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott, and
Skip,
I believe Dak will make one more play.
Skip, with all these injuries?
I just know this division, it's going to come down to that. And once we get by the Eagles, here we go.
Hold on. I know this division, too. This division sucks. You saw what Washington did up in Buffalo. You saw what the Giants lost to the Falcons. They find every way. They found a different way to lose every week. They should have won against the Washington. Giants should have won against Washington. They should have won against the Falcons. They found a different. And when you bad, you find ways to lose. Washington went up there. I'm very disappointed. Not in the team. I'm disappointed in that front four. Because everybody, that front four, that's one of the best front four. Skip, they can't do nothing.
Nothing.
Josh Allen threw a party.
I would agree.
He pole vaulted right back into the MVP discussion, Skip.
I remind you, I gave you TF in this division, the field. You have all three of these
Can
teams.
I take the field to mean like the whole NFC?
No, you got the field in the NFC league.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
We may need to pull all the teams together.
Trust me, the biggest threat to my Cowboys, I told you before the year, is the Philadelphia Eagles.
The biggest threat to your Cowboys is injuries. Ain't nobody in that division a threat to your Cowboys right now.
No,
injuries.
Maybe it's trying to bribe collectors. That's the biggest threat.
I feel like the color you're wearing today, Shannon, is very Eagles-esque. Can you play on that?
Yeah, maybe I'll bring them a little luck.
Just a little.
Maybe a little luck.
A little bit? Okay.
They need more than luck.
Moving on.
No mercy.
Tom Brady and the Bucs flew to L.A. to take on the Rams in a battle of two NFC heavyweights. Brady couldn't get into a rhythm until the game was out of reach, but Matthew Stafford was the star of the show as he threw 4 touchdowns in the Rams' 34-24 win. The Rambassador himself, Fox Sports NFL analyst Eric Dickerson joins us now. Eric, it is great to have you, and I know you're in a good mood today. Should LA now be the favorites to win the Super Bowl? We're going all the way.
Well, let me say this first of all. How about them SMU Mustangs being 4-0? I got to go with that. Skip, you know how I feel about that myself.
I do.
Right.
I'll take that. I appreciate that.
Let's go with that. When you look at the game yesterday, it's a regular season game. I hate to say we're going to the Super Bowl, but we look very good. And, over the years, I look back, we've kind of always had the Bucs number. a guy asked me the day before yesterday, what do you think about the game? You think you can win? I said, we've always had the Bucs number pretty much. And I go back and they played 27 times since the inception of the Bucs in the NFL, and we beat them 18 times. Even when they were really good, we still beat them. When we were bad, we beat them. So I wasn't shocked that we beat the Bucs. We beat them last year when the Bucs went to the Super Bowl. We beat them up in Tampa. So are they going to the Super Bowl? Nah, I'm not going to say that much, right? It's only 3 games, but we look very good. I like the way Matt Stafford threw the football around. He looked good. He looked confident. One thing that I've always felt is that we was missing one player, and that was a quarterback. You know, I can go back to think of times in games where our former quarterback, Jared Goff, started off slow. And if he started off slow, I would say he's done. Matt Stafford started off slow yesterday. And just to show you how good he is, he picked it up and got better and better as the game goes on. To me, that's the sign of a great player. I know Tom Brady can do it. I know my old friend Joe Montana can do it. And that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to bring your team back from, you know, you're not playing great, but all of a sudden you have to be able to turn it around. And saying that, are we going to the Super Bowl? I can't say yes to that, but do we look good enough to go? Yes, we do.
Okay, let me say, is Eric Dickerson thinking deep down in the back of his mind, we're going to the Super Bowl? Yes, he is. Trust me, he is. You won't say it, but you're thinking it.
I'll say this much here. Last year, I kept saying, if we had a different quarterback, I just got to say it, we would have been in the Super Bowl. We had the defense. We had everything but one guy. I just kept saying, man, that quarterback position is hurting us. This year, I feel very confident about Matt Stafford. I mean, probably overly confident, because one thing when I watch him play, you can tell he doesn't rely on Sean McVay. He can just go out and play football. Sean McVay can go out and coach. Sean McVay can run down the sidelines. You have to worry about the quarterback position. I got to try to get the play into him. I got to make sure he sees the right defense. Matt Stafford has been there, done that on bad football teams in Detroit. Now he has a good football team. He has a team. He's like, I think every player goes through this. You stand on the sidelines, you watch a team, and you're like, man, if I had that, if I had that. When I was in Indianapolis, in my career, I'm like, wow, if I had the line that the Cowboys had, oh my God, what could I do with that? So I'm sure Matt Stafford is saying, what could I do with this? And now he's like, this is what I have.
I don't know about the Super Bowl, Skip, but I believe they should be co-favored with the Bucs. And I think what they were I think they were second.
Favored or co-favored?
They should be co-favored right there with the Bucs. Because I think the thing is, Skip, look, both teams, the defense, Tampa's defense, their pass defense, they're the second worst passing defense in football. Only your Cowboys are worse. So that lets you, that's some company you don't want to be in. That's something they're going to have to get shored up. And to Edie's point, Sean McVay calls a play, and he doesn't tell Matthew Stafford, if they're in this coverage, go here. If they're in that coverage, because it cuts off at 15 seconds. You watch him. He calls a play. He's down there looking at his play sheet, see what he's going to call the next time around. He's not telling Matthew Stafford because he trusts Matthew Stafford's going to be able to operate. He had to tell Jared Goff, Jared, if it's this coverage, look for this. If it's that coverage, look for that. And plus, I got to call the perfect. He always felt, Sean McVay always felt he had to call the perfect play for Jared Goff. Now he can call a play, and if it's not perfect, Matthew Stafford can make it perfect. He can just make throws. You must defend every area on the field. He can just make throws, Skip. Jared Goff can't make. Jared Goff is not a C-level quarterback. He's just not Matthew Stafford. The throws that Stafford was making yesterday shows you why they were willing to give up those 2 first-round picks. And Jared Goff, who they paid a ton of money, take that dead cap hit to get Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a difference maker, and they are a legitimate co-favorite. Right now, they should be number one in the
guts, the courage of your convictions, and say they should be favored.
Right now,
because you're all full of yourself, but then you say they're co-favorites because you're afraid of Brady.
You know what I would do? I would like Alabama. They're the number 1 seed right now. They're the number 1 seed.
Okay, there, we got it, finally. I'm going to remind both of you that Jared Goff, once upon a time, maybe my memory gets clouded, but he outdueled Mahomes on this Monday night, 54-51. Remember that game? Then he outdueled Dak in a playoff game.
Dak ain't saying that. Stop saying, why you put Dak in there?
Dak, because he's top 5 quarterback. He's lighting it up right now.
Matthew Stafford just outdueled the GOAT.
huh?
On a Sunday.
Then I remember Jared Goff going and beating Drew Brees at New Orleans in an NFC Championship game and getting to a Super Bowl. Heck, I remember him last year going up to Seattle and winning a game. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a different guy. I am not sold on Matthew Stafford, and I remain unsold on Matthew Stafford because he was never that guy in Detroit, and this was the first time he was ever thrust into this kind of spotlight in only week 3. But here came the GOAT, and there went Matt Stafford, and both of you have acknowledged he got off to a horrendous start. He was one of his first 6. He underthrew Deshaun twice by about 20 yards on both those balls. And I said, oh, here we go. And then what happened? He bounces a ball, if we could see it, off Cooper Kupp, that Jamel Dean has in his breadbasket. It's like, please catch me. And watch Jamel Dean. This is nothing to nothing. Oh, that's a little wild high. And Jamel Dean cannot handle the ball that's trying to catch him.
He jumped for a ball that's going to hit him.
I don't know what he's doing. And if he catches it, I think he's going to run a little while because he's got all kinds of a convoy around him. And if he catches it and runs down to the 30, 20, I don't know, maybe my team goes up 7-0 and the pressure starts to mount on Matt Stafford. And then next series, if I could see this, a throw to Gronkowski that's going to put him down at the 15-yard line. It's a sweet throw from goat to goat. And Gronk, you got to catch that. Shannon Sharpe puts that in his back pocket.
That's my favorite route, 7.
It's a 7 route. It's just, here, catch this. And Gronk cannot put it away, and he'd be down to the 15-yard line, and my team is going to go up first, 7-0.
Well, he should have never been there because Taylor Rapp, you got help inside. Just run to the corner. That's all he had to do. He run to the corner because you got help in the post.
And then what happens at that point? Jamel Dean, the aforementioned, gets hurts his knee. I don't know if he can play at Foxborough. And who comes in for him? D. Delaney, who played at the Citadel, undrafted.
The Citadel Bulldogs.
And you know the Citadel.
I do.
Yeah, and he's bounced around to 5 different teams. He was completely out of football last year. And all of a sudden, he is covering a Cooper Kupp who is leading the National Football League in catches, yards, and touchdown passes. He's dominating.
Yeah.
He's turned into statistically the best receiver in football. And I got to watch D. Delaney try to chase him the rest of the day. It's a complete mismatch. Matt Stafford had time to drive to Detroit and back to L.A. before he threw the football half the time. And finally, on the pass to the deep one that just broke it open, Mike Edwards slips and falls. It was a nice move. It was a good call. You got us. But Matt Stafford needed time to pat the football and cut loose, and he got it to him.
Before you go, what did Mike Edwards do last week?
2 pick sixes.
He undercut the route, the Matt Ryan, and he was going to get him another cheap pick.
Maybe he jumped on that one. Okay, I got it. But he slipped. He slipped and fell. So, again, Matt Stafford's degree of difficulty was like a 1, while Brady's degree of difficulty was a 9 yesterday.
No, anytime you play in Brady, it's a 10. Because that's Brady on the other side. I got to look him in his eye. We know he quick to draw, so I got to watch him. As soon as he draw, I got to draw first.
Well, all he did was draw 432 yards worth, which I'll take. I thought Brady was excellent yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you, most of those yards came at the end of the game, but,
thank you, Edie.
Defense, we're going to hit him. I mean, and that's the thing about any quarterback. Tom Brady's not very mobile. You got to hit him. And Matt Stafford's performance yesterday, I don't know what you're talking about, Skip. Hey, look, none of them, very rare you have a perfect performance. Nobody plays perfect all the time, the ball that went out over Cooper Kupp's head and bounced into these hands, he possibly could have caught it. Hey, that's football. That's what happens. That happens. I mean, that happens. You can't catch all the balls. You're not going to make all the great throws. But I'll tell you what, he made the great throws and he had to make them. That's what really counts. And winning the football game, that's the most important thing. You can go, if this would have happened, if that would have happened. That's what I would say. That's what losers say. Man, if we'd have just had one more quarter, we'd have caught that ball, we'd have won the game. Man, we had that game. Man, if he wouldn't have got hurt, we had it. That's what losers say all the time. If was a 5th, we'd all be drunk.
Edie, you mentioned it. You said, like, Matthew Stafford and Skip was talking about how Matthew Stafford started out. We are very confident. You like to pop up that 20-yard run. You're like, okay, yeah, this thing gonna be a good day. I get that first 20-yard run, and Edie said, yeah, I'm going for a buck. I'm going for a buck today.
Now on my Cowboys in a playoff game. Yeah.
Edie, hey, you got 5 carries, you got 6 yards. You think to yourself, like, damn, it's going to be a rough day for me today.
It's going to be a rough day.
Matthew Stafford in Detroit, he starts off like that, Skip. You're probably right. But this a new Matthew Stafford. He done moved out here to Beverly Hills.
Yeah. And he's playing for that high school Harry coach, right?
You see it?
Wait, we got to see this. Edie, you being the Ram ambassador, I know you know Sean McVay. What got into Sean McVay yesterday? Because he was out of his mind. If we could see this, first he's laughing on the sideline after the 14-7 touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp. The Bucs will make note of that. And then here they come off the field at the end of the half. They won the Super Bowl. They won it at the end of the first half.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Give me some. Give me some.
What are you doing? Are you trying to show off? You're running all the way after D-Jack, all the way up the tunnel to him.
Give me some, D-Jack.
Oh, give me some.
I told you I had you this week.
Well, that's just straight amateur.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
What is he doing?
Come on, Skip.
What is this?
I'm sorry McCarthy can't run like that.
Bingo.
Don't hate on our coach like that.
Yeah, Bruce Arians definitely not running like that.
Okay, what got into him? Was it because Dr. Dre was in the stands? Was LeBron in the stands? Hey, ED was up in a box. I saw him on TV.
Trying to get you in a box. McVay is very high energy. You know how
I have never seen any of that from him in any other game. And he did coach once upon a time in a Super Bowl.
Well, I tell you what, he didn't have a quarterback like this either. I mean, that's one thing. When you've got players around you, when you got players, you don't have to, I have to say, baby, I don't have to worry about that. He had to worry about that. And we I've got what I want. I've got my guy. It makes it that much easier on him, for sure. I'm going to go back. And we're talking about starting off bad in the football game. We played 2 Cowboys, I think, 2 years ago up in Dallas. I'll never forget it. I was on the sideline. I saw Jared Goff hit the first pass in the ground. The next pass over Cooper Kupp's head. The next one was knocked down. After that series, I said, he's done. The next pass, he came out, and the next possession, interception for a touchdown. See, that's not the thing that we have to worry about with Matt Stafford. He's a true player. He knows how to play the game. And you, as former players, and you know this, Shannon, we know who can play, and we know who's getting the hype. There's certain guys that you hype, they call them hype men, and there's certain guys who can play. And your franchise quarterback, if you want a franchise quarterback, your quarterback needs to win at least 7 or 8 games on his own. The quarterback, hey, he won that game.
Stafford better than Jared Goff, Skip. I think we can agree with that.
A lot better. And nothing against Jared. It's just the truth. He's a lot better. And McVay doesn't have to be in his headset. He can coach. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to make the call for it. And that's the thing that we have been missing, I think, for the last 3 years. I've been saying it here in L.A. I know they didn't like it at first, but now people see it. I mean, it is what it is. And hey, it's not about being a good guy. In football, what is it about, Shannon? It's about W's and
win.
Okay, I got a prediction for you, Rambassador. If you are lucky enough to make it to the NFC Championship game in Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay will get revenge on you because they will be spoiling to put Sean McVay and his showboating back in his place.
Rams going 20-0.
Yeah.
Rams going 20-0
Skip's fighting if we have a rematch.
You want to bet a couple cases on it?
Either way. Eric, it is so good to have you around here again. It's a good time of year, and I'm happy you got to celebrate that one yesterday. We'll check in with you very soon.
No mercy.
Tom Brady and the Bucs suffered their first loss yesterday against the Rams. The 44-year-old had 2 total touchdowns and threw for 432 yards, but never got Tampa back into the game after falling down 2 scores in the third quarter. So, Shannon, please give Brady a letter grade for yesterday.
Skip, I gave him a C-. He didn't win the game. I look at the yardage. He had a huge day throwing the football, 432 yards, but 260 of those yards came when he was trailing by 14. 177 of those yards came when he was trailing by 260 by 14, 177 by 17. And I don't want to hear anything about the favorite target because AB is 5th in targets in the first 2 weeks. Godwin leads, Evans, Gronk, he's behind Fournette. So I don't want to hear anything about his favorite target because that's not his favorite target.
Well, how about last year? Go look at the last 8 games last year and see what happened.
What happened?
The AB happened.
Skip, I don't want to go back.
He threw him one ball against Atlanta for 17 yards. He's saving him for the game yesterday.
Stop. Don't do that. People don't save things. You try to win the game. And you didn't win yesterday. So my thing is, Brady, start the game. 3 straight drives. 2 of them, we went 3 and out. Okay, that's the time to be to go.
Stafford.
No, here to go. Okay, then what we do? We get it going, you match us.
Oh, they're we now.
Yeah, we get it going, and then you match us. We got it going again. What you do?
Matched.
No, you didn't. Then we
get
get
all the way to 21-14.
Yeah, and then what happened? We stepped on the gas.
Yeah. Against D. Delaney?
No, against Tom Brady. No. See, you see what you did? Now it's D. Delaney. Now, when Tom Brady outguns Patrick Mahomes, you said it's outgun Patrick Mahomes. You don't mention the defense. When he outguns any other quarterback, it's Tom Brady versus quarterback, not Tom Brady versus the defense. Now you want to make it that since Matt Stafford outshined Tom Brady yesterday, he had D. Delaney. He didn't have JPP. Nah, Skip. Yesterday was about Matthew Stafford. To go head-to-head with Tom Brady, you know he's not going to flinch, but you can't flinch either.
Who had the most pressure, Matt Stafford or Tom Brady in the pocket? Pressure as a passer.
Skip, if that's
it wasn't even close.
Skip, okay, what about the Super Bowl? Who had more pressure?
I don't care. That wasn't the Super Bowl. It's this game.
But
yesterday.
It's a game.
Yeah.
Pressure. Patrick Mahomes had more pressure. But you didn't say there was Patrick Mahomes. You said, oh, look at Tom Brady did to Patrick Mahomes. You barely mentioned the defense. Now, why is it every time Tom Brady lose, you find a reason to blame the defense? You blame Todd Bowles. You blame everybody except Tom Brady. Why?
So it is my turn, and I'm going to be objective over here and give Tom Brady an A- only because, for your reason, he lost the game.
Okay.
A- because he lost.
Okay.
Tom Brady was under siege from start to finish, under fire from what might be the best pass rush in pro football. Am I right about that? So Tom Brady came into the game with pressure percentage of 17.8%. That was a league low. He'd been pressured on 17.8% of their snaps. Yesterday, it rose quickly. It escalated. It skyrocketed to 27% of the snaps he was pressured on. So he was under fire from the Rams, while Matt Stafford had nothing but time to pat the football, right?
Okay.
So, again, this is Tom Brady for the first time in his career losing a game in which he threw for 400-plus yards with no interceptions. So he did nothing wrong. He threw for 432 yards. He led the team in rushing with 14 yards because they could not run a lick against the Rams. So he had no run game to buffer himself. He had no balance at all in the attack, which cannot happen at New England.
But Skip,
right?
what I don't understand is that why when other teams don't have a run game, you don't make that excuse. When Rodgers or Mahomes under siege, you said Rodgers couldn't get it done. He was under siege. He got sacked 5 times. He got hit another 10 times. You didn't make any excuses.
Which game are we talking about?
We're talking about the championship game last year.
Oh.
All I'm asking you, and for others that support Tom Brady, why is it when Tom lose, you make excuses? He's under siege. But when other quarterbacks are under siege, you say they just can't get it done. When other teams don't have a running game, you don't say anything about the running game. But now with Tom Brady, we got to find every excuse why he lost. Put it on him. He the GOAT. That's what you tell me. He the GOAT.
You gave him a C- when he threw for 432 with no interceptions and a touchdown pass and a running touchdown because he is the greatest quarterback sneaker of all time.
But Matthew Stafford threw for 343, 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Matthew Stafford outgunned him.
Against D. Delaney?
Really? Whoa. But see, Skip.
Rams have any injuries in their secondary? No.
So hold on.
Were they missing their best pass rusher, Aaron Donald? Because my team was. My team was missing JPP. He is the most valuable player on the defense.
All that is true. But you make it seem like every time Tom Brady has faced a team, every day the team has had all of their guys. You've never made these excuses for anybody but Tom.
Tom Brady went 3 of 4 in the red zone, while Matt Stafford went 3 of 4 in the red zone, and you gave him a C-.
Let me ask you a question. So to start the game, what did he do? So that was his time to jump on. So why didn't he throw for those yards in the first half?
The Rams are really good on defense.
He's the GOAT. You tell me he's the GOAT.
No, you should tell me he's the GOAT.
Okay, he got to win that game.
Case right now somebody else is the GOAT?
He got to win that game.
He threw for 432 yards.
Skip.
What more could you ask for against that defense? I will predict right now, nobody will throw for more yards against that defense this year than that guy just did. Want to bet?
But here's the thing.
I'll bet you 2 cases right now. Let's just put it on there.
I remember when Devin Booker scored 70 points in a basketball game and lost. And he puts up the sign, and everybody on social media ripped him. You lost. Who cares about 70? You lost. You lost.
I gave him an A- because he lost.
Skip.
Otherwise, there's nothing to criticize.
Let me ask you a question. What's the difference between him and what Dak Prescott did? What Dak Prescott did last year. What was the difference between what Tom Brady did and Dak Prescott?
Well, Tom Brady's in another league, another galaxy.
No. What's the difference between his play yesterday and what Dak did for 4 games last year? What is the difference?
Well, one guy's the GOAT, the comeback king in the history of football, so he just kept coming back and coming back.
Dak did that. Dak threw for all those yards. Come up short. He threw for 254 in the fourth quarter. He threw for 193. He threw for this many yards. He lost.
Okay, but against Cleveland at home last year, they were so woefully behind. Those are empty calories.
You behind. Skip, you was behind by 17.
I didn't write him off until 5 minutes were left in the game.
Skip, let's be real.
These are rally calories, not empty calories.
Here's the thing. The game really wasn't that close. The game didn't feel close.
I don't know.
The game didn't feel close.
Early when Matt Stafford threw it to Jamel Dean. Wild out.
Skipped out the first quarter.
Okay, well, they should have been up 7-0. Then we'd see what kind of pressure Matt Stafford could take.
Jamel Dean is 6'4", 190 pounds. If he could catch, he'd be a wide receiver. That's why he playing DB. He can't catch.
Oh, stop.
No mercy.
The shorthanded Cowboys look to move into first place in the NFC East with their game against Philly tonight, which is the first of 3 straight home games for Dallas. Next week, they'll host the undefeated Panthers, but then after that, they'll get to play the New York Giants, who are, yes, they are still winless on the year. So, Shannon, how worried are you the Cowboys are ready to pull away in the NFC East?
I'm worried. I don't believe the Cowboys are a particularly great football team, but they play in the worst division in football, and the other teams in that division aren't very good, Skip. The Washington, as I mentioned, Skip, the Washington football team defensive line, that front 7 has been very disappointing. And that was the heartbeat of the team because they could collapse the pocket with 4 guys, play coverage on the back end, get you off the field. I thought Heineken played well yesterday, Skip. He made a mistake, but I thought he played well. It was just Josh Allen went up and down the field. He's like, you know what? I think I want Emmanuel Sanders. Or I think I want Knox. I thought I want this guy. Whatever he wanted, he got.
How about that Diggs guy?
Yeah, yeah. He's like, whatever I want, you know. All he back there, you know. Take it, read it. I'm just disappointed in the football team. The Giants, you remember I got off them early. You like, I thought you, no. I said, nah, Skip.
Off-season, you were all about the Giants.
I was, Skip, and then I realized, hold on. And I thought Daniel Jones played okay. But, Skip, they're going to have to make some changes. Gettleman, head coach, somebody, they need to do a shakeup. They need, something is what they're teaching or something the players are not learning it.
They made the biggest free agent splash.
Yeah, but you know, Galladay and Slayton have been underperforming. Evan Ingram had one good season, and now they're booing him when he comes off the field. Something isn't right. And the Eagles, you and a lot of others are convinced that Jalen Hurts is the answer. I haven't seen enough consistency. Skip, I don't need to see you throw for 300 one game and then the next 2 games you're under 200. I don't need to see you play another good game and then the next 3 games you're struggling. So for me, yes, I'm worried that the Cowboys are about to take off in this division.
So Cowboys have Eagles tonight at home, then Carolina without your little man C-Mac at home next Sunday. Then the Giants at home, and they have become the doormat of the worst conference or worst division in pro football. I have tried to tell you something is going on with my Dallas Cowboys.
Stop going to that division. Stop doing that, Skip. It's not the Cowboys.
The guy that you saw coming even before I did, Micah Parsons, has changed the way we play defense. We are leading the league in takeaways. We have been leading the league in takeaways dating back 7 games into last season. So over the last 9 games, including 7 last year, we have led the NFL in turnover ratio. So we are not turning the ball over and we are taking the ball away. That is the formula for magic.
Okay, what does that have to do with what does Michael Parsons has to do with the Giants being bad, Washington football team being bad, and the Eagles being bad? What does he have to do with that?
The Eagles are not bad. They are the biggest threat, which is why I am still scared of this game tonight. This will be a tough game. This will be a battle that will go down to the wire because I believe in Jalen Hurts more than you do. He is a playmaker and a leader, and he will have his team, what's left of it, ready to play tonight, and they will play a little over their helmets on the big national Monday night.
First of all, mosquitoes are more dangerous than a rattlesnake. But what are most people fearful of? The rattlesnake. So your division is just, okay, that's Jalen over the Eagles. Skip, you know good and well the Eagles. You just saying that to try to hype your Cowboys up. Stop trying to do that. Ain't nobody buying that.
I told you when they drafted Jalen Hurts, I said he'll be better than Carson Wentz, who stunk again yesterday.
Okay. So
are you off the Carson Wentz bandwagon for good?
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So what is that saying? He's better than Carson Wentz. What is that saying?
Walk it to him, right?
He was, but injuries has robbed him of his ability.
He's now give it to him, Wentz. Okay,
I get all that. He's in Indy now, so we talk about your division.
But in my division, that is the biggest threat because that guy will play at a high level in big pressure situations. I thought Jalen Hurts played great in Dallas last year, and we managed to outgun him.
Okay, he played great, but he lost. He played great in Arizona. He lost. He plays great. So what good is that getting me somebody playing great and I'm losing? I'd rather for you to play bad and we win than you play great and we lose.
Okay, I think this will be a battle down to the wire, but I want to see my team stay balanced because my team can throw it and it can run it. I need about 30 passes and 30 runs. I need it right in that vicinity.
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to build your team up to say, see what my Cowboys did when they're in the crappiest division in all of football. A win in this division means you know what the NFL should start giving half wins. If you win a game in the NFC East, play an NFC East opponent, you get a half win.
Somebody's going to win this division, and somebody gets a home playoff game, and the somebody is going to be my Dallas Cowboys. And you took I gave you everybody else. I gave you the field, TF.
Okay, you gave me a bunch of trash. You said, well, Shannon, I wonder why you didn't get no trash out of that because you gave me all trash.
And you bet 10 cases of Diet Mountain Dew on the field.
I bet 5.
No, it was 10.
All right.
No mercy.
As well was pretty amazing over the weekend. He set the NFL record with a 66-yard field goal yesterday to give the Ravens a walk-off 19-17 win over the Lions in Detroit. Tucker's kick beat the previous record set by Matt Prater, who booted a 64-yard field goal outside in the elements in Denver. So, Shannon, yes, I know this was indoors, but did you ever think you would see a 66-yard field goal?
Not at sea level. I thought it was possible, Skip, in Denver. I was there when Jason Elam tied the record with 63 yards, and Prater broke it a couple of years later with 64 yards. So I thought it was possible in Denver. Somebody could go 66, maybe even 68. But not at sea level, Skip. Not at sea level. And what do you have to lose, Skip? You're down 1. You would never try this in a normal situation unless you Arizona tried it right before the half. Try a 68-yarder.
I never thought I would see such an epic kick in heavy indoor air where there's no tailwind.
No.
You get no help.
You get nothing.
And this Justin Tucker, he is only 180 pounds, and I don't know where the power comes from. It's like Justin Thomas in golf. He's a little man who just launches it, and this kid gets it up so quick and so high. I have never seen such leg talent as he has.
No, the accuracy in which he kicks it with the distance, that's the combination, Skip. And congratulations to our Ryder Club team, Skip. We beat the brakes off Europe yesterday.
That was impressive.
Let y'all know, don't mess with America.
Shannon, great stuff today. We're back same time tomorrow. The herd is on now.
Let go.
Have a good day.